Good evening, this is Brother Bro here, and I'm going to review The Thing with Feathers starring Benedict Cumberbatch. This is thoroughly a grief drama, but it borrows from magical realism and horror. In fact, you may really believe that you're watching a horror movie as you're watching this thing unfold, because it has some quite scary moments, has a lot of jump scares. The film's about a father who has two sons struggling with the death of his wife, and he starts to become possessed by this crow figure who he starts to obsessively draw and who kind of appears to him in dreams. He doesn't know if this crow is like a force for good or a force for evil in helping him overcome the pain he's dealing with. Now, I fear that this film would be like other films where birds help people get over death, which there seems to be a lot of that. It's a strange subgenre, but I didn't feel like this was nearly as contrived as it could have been given my hesitation. I actually think overall this film was a success in depicting the harsh realities of grief, and it didn't really use that character to like cop out too much and explain life lessons. I think it's actually a really earnest effort to grapple with grief, and I can tell the source material this is based on was a really moving and powerful work for many people. It really does seem like it has the potential to touch many people who are inflicted with this sort of like awful pain. Now, the film is really strange, and unfortunately there's a possibility that many people might just be turned off by the film's style. Again, like, it has this message about grief that I think is really important, but you kind of have to be on its wavelength to get there and to really feel like this was a movie for you. Getting on the film's wavelength was a little bit of a journey for me. I did feel a little bit of a distance from this film, like, oh, what is it doing over here? I see that it's trying to be innovative in this way and like kind of being intellectual about it. So I think maybe the weakness here would be the screenplay, if anything. Just given that maybe it's a little bit harder to relate to than it needed to be. And it is like weird watching, Benedict Cumberbatch just like furiously scrawling like a crow and making noises and going, ah, ah, ah. I was kind of like, did all that need to happen? But at the same time, there were other scenes that really worked for me. Like, one involved a circling camera around Benedict Cumberbatch as he was kind of like losing his mind. And that just really sunk me into like the emotion of what was going on. He's sort of like imploding and how this insanity is begging to come out and how it's also cathartic. Like, there's some really interesting stuff here. Now, I think the director is actually really talented, Dylan Southern. This film is in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and I think the cinematography was really strong. It features high contrast with sharp black edges, and there are many very effective and scary moments here, as well as some dynamic camera work. I also love the way that the director brought to life the character of the crow, who seemed to be operated via puppetry. David Thewlis as the voice for the crow is perfectly haunting, as well as comforting, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the dad is really strong here. I think he really anchors this film. And I also like how the director handled the child actors. They really seemed kind of uncontrollable and dynamic, and they also did not teach the dad any real life lessons. Overall, this film kind of felt like an A24 movie to me, and I think it is worth seeking out. I don't know if I'll remember it very well by like the end of the year, but I think it was strong and it did do what it sought out to do. I'd give this one a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Do you like to draw pictures of the birds that appear in your dreams?